Hi everyone, this is Karak from ACG, and today I bring you the review for The Park, a game based on one of the sinister locations within the massively multiplayer game The Secret World by Funcom. This location is known as Atlantic Park, a place where clown madness is probably a real illness. You play as Lorraine, a mother who's lost her son in the park and needs to find him, and does so by screaming at him continually throughout the entire title. So basically, she's that one mother every suburb has and everyone wants to kill around dinner time. Let's see if Funcom's first attempt to branch out into games not based on the cycle of abuse that causes kids to stroke out in internet cafes around the world is worthy of a purchase. A little Ethan Carter, a little Everyone's Gone to Rapture, and rub in a dash of their own fiction. Let's see how it does, shall we? And as always, if you like the video, please subscribe. So here's the review for The Park. Modern day parenting gone wrong, demonic furries, and a fun park with a worse safety record than Waterworld USA. No, seriously, look that place up. It's like a damn child mulcher in water slide form. As always, graphics are up first. One thing most won't say about the park is that it's ugly. Echoing the pastel, softer tones that the Secret World is known for, the park and the areas around it reflect a higher definition, greater fidelity impression of the original location seen in the MMO. Special effects abound, whether it's the spark of possibly haunted bumper cars careening through traffic like a drunk driver, or the subtle tones of a drug-induced field trip into someone's subconscious. The game always looks impressively dour and grim, which is what it's actually aiming for. Even at 1440p, I was getting close to 60 frames per second with the anti-aliasing maxed, and turning that off, I was able to lock it at 60 frames per second. Not sure how much higher it went, but it never dipped below that. The game looks good, and then again, it probably should as you traverse the park at the speed of Grandpa. Even your run is a walk to most people, and you're left experiencing the world one slow step at a time, which doesn't really stress the graphics engine anyway. All in all, though, I would say that it has excellent graphics, and more importantly, it reflects the already established location in the MMO very well, if a bit more detailed and thought out. Sound, music, and voice.
Not me. But instead my mouth said, "Yes, Sheriff." Mommy is coming, Callum! Where are you, Callum? Callum, stay where you are!
Come on, Mommy!
Callum, tell Mommy where you are.
The sound is really good, with the wrappings of roller coaster chain under your car as you ascend into the sky on a ride that no one in their right mind should ever attempt, to the creak of rusted steel as you're lifted high into the air on the Ferris wheel. It is mostly environmental sounds, and here and there they're done well, and it's all crisp with no muddy middle sections. Music. Now, though reminiscent in many places of its original source in The Secret World, there's far less music here, and as with AC Syndicate and now Halo 5, the use of negative moments and soundtracks really seems to be making a comeback. Here, though, it might have been overdone, as sometimes climatic moments just didn't seem to hit with the emotional impact that I would have expected. What's there is good, but as a fan of soundtracks, I would have liked a lot more. That being said, when it needs to, it gets out of the way for the sound effects or the voice work. It's just that as a musical score, there's not a lot there. And that brings us to voice. Listen, there aren't that many characters here at all, but they sure are used to the extreme. 1 second whispering words of warning and dire consequences, the next laughing it up like a madman. The young voice actor who plays Callum does great, and the scripting is really well done. Additionally, Lorraine's constant screams for him to show himself or come out of hiding are all done really well, and though they sometimes feel separate from her monologues that are, until they aren't, delivered with an almost clinician's calmness, she does excellent as well. Side characters pop up from time to time and do fine with the script that they're given. I like the voices. Gameplay. Now, you play as Lorraine, running around the amusement park trying to get Callum to return to you as he's run off to look for his lost teddy bear. Quickly, things turn dire and you begin to use the one main useful tactic that you have with you: screaming for him. Each time you do so, the character's voice gets more and more tense, but in a nice gameplay loop, screaming for him also uses a light graphical effect to sort of lead you to where you need to go to next and what you need to look at next. And therein, unfortunately, lies the problem with the park. If you're not reading somewhat interesting treatise about the possible evil that lies beneath Atlantic Park, you're riding one of the very few rides in the park to push the story forward. And when I say ride, I actually mean it. The first ride, very useful and required to set the pace, is almost insanely long, and the attention needed by the gamer during its presentation is also the most likely thing to wander around here. Also, where many walking simulators excel is either their use of puzzle work, like in Ethan Carter, or extraordinary geometry and architecture, like Albino Lullaby, or incredible amounts of digestible content, like Everyone's Gone to Rapture. The park has none of that. It's just incredibly lean on presentation, and though reading newspaper clippings or hearing Lorraine slowly degenerating in what appears to be the worst mother ever There just isn't much going on here, and the yelling ability is both useful but ultimately trite as the game goes on, and that's especially disappointing considering the fiction that is available here. Lastly, the story just really lost me. In these kinds of games, as said above, you have to have a hook, and the park has one, which is its location. But for a scary-ass park in the middle of nowhere that apparently eats kids like Pop-Tarts at a sleepover, you can do almost nothing but ride the few rides. Doors are almost all closed, and exploration isn't at a medium, it just isn't there, resulting in long downtime, even if filled with Lorraine babbling about used condoms filled with the detritus of mankind. It just doesn't keep even a jaded SOB like myself actually very interested. Fun factor. This is more interest factor, because if you were having fun during a game like this, most people would probably want you to discuss it with a mental health practitioner. And I was interested, and in a way that was fun, but a repetitive slog of rooms at the end of the title was like a boss battle all by itself, where the boss's weak spot was me just reaching the other end of the room, but its strengths were continued, slightly adjusted, repetitive reading content. It was like battling against an insane English teacher, and I have no problem admitting it beat me. It just doesn't do enough with its core gameplay loop or the interesting content in which it was created. So I rate games on a buy, wait for sale, wait for a deep sale, or never talk about it again rating scale. Now, though I loved what was attempted here, it needed more to do. And even as a walking simulator, a genre I've been known to actually highly enjoy and covet, I found myself bored more than a couple times. However, it's also only $19.99 for 2+ hours of gameplay, so I'll just say it's wait for a sale. Yeah, even at $10, I'm not sure many people wouldn't feel fairly bored throughout some of it, especially if even one of the gameplay elements isn't interesting to you. That actually means 50% of the game probably won't be. So anyway, that's it for me. I hope you liked the review. If you did, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. And as always, peace out.